Welcome to Stamp and Go. I'm Sandy Hartka, and we meet here every second and fourth Tuesday of the month to make 3 fun cards using a single stamp or bundle. If you would like to get a free card kit to make 2 of each of these cards, be sure that you place an order using the host code below, and you'll get 2 of everything you need to make these cards. If you spend $50, then you'll also get an added set of embellishments. Now, in your free kit, you'll get the embellishments you need to make these cards. The free embellishment pack is just for you. If you just want the excuse me, if you just want the measurements and the supply list, you need to be on my mailing list because I'll be sending that out to my mail list after this event. If you're not on my mail list, you can do that very easily. Just hit that link below in the description section, and you can sign up real quickly, and you'll immediately be on my list. So let's get started. Okay, this is the set that we're using. It's called Winterly Tops. Really fun set. It does look winterly, so never heard that word before, but I kind of like it. It's pretty cool. So we are going to be using this set today, and these are the dies. Well, these are the verses that are in there, and then these are the stamped images that are die cut, and this is a set that does not have a corresponding stamp. And of course, we have that gorgeous frame, and we're going to be using that this evening also. All right, well, let us begin. So this is the first card that we are going to be making. And it's a little tricky here because we're actually using 3 of this arch to make our pretty wreath here. So let us begin. Let me get this out of the way. I'm going to grab this because when I pull out the die cuts, they're white and makes it a little difficult to see sometimes. So this is the die cut. Now, for each card, you need 3 of these. So you'll be stamping 3 of these. I'm using Memento Ink because we are going to be using the blends to color in our images today. All right, I'm inking that up. Looks pretty good. I'm going to use my alternative stamp method because I have trouble sometimes getting the rubber stamping to meet the die cut. So I turn this is the top side. I turn my die cut upside down, and then I layer that over the stamp and then just press down instead of stamping down. All right, and that's what that looks like. Now, for your birds, I'll show you the coloring in a second. For your birds, this is the die cut. You only need 1 of these per card. And again, we're going to ink up in Memento. So ink that up really well. There we go. And we're going to turn that upside down as well as our die cut. And we're going to place that over the stamp and press down all over the stamp. Be sure you press down all over it. And there is your stamped image. So let's get the ink out of the way and we'll chat about the coloring of this. So let me grab the images that are already colored so you don't have to sit there and watch me. Now the birds themselves are done in Misty Moonlight. So this is the dark Misty. This is the light Misty. And then for the bills, I used a light crumb cake. You can either use light or dark crumb cake. Either works fine. The branch is done with dark crumb cake. And the berries are done with dark red. Okay. These are all listed in your supply list that if you get the card kit, you'll be getting a PDF that has the photos, the measurements, as well as listing the products that you need. Let's lay that over to the side for a sec. Now your arch, all 3 of your arches are colored the same way. The berries obviously are going to be dark red again. The large leaves there are light shaded spruce. And then the smaller leaves right through there. Those are done with dark shaded spruce. All three arches for the card are done the same way. Okay, so let's move these over and work on the card itself. So you have, I'm not going to grab the base quite yet. We'll get that in a sec. You have a piece of basic gray that's cut in a rectangle so that we can fit in the designer paper. And for each card, you'll get 6 pieces of the designer paper. Okay, looks like this. You can arrange them any way that you like. I just kind of do it randomly because that's pretty easy for me. But if you see a specific pattern, feel free to do that. All right, I'm going to put these on with glue. And I'm going to start in the upper left. And I'm going to fit these so that you've got, I would say about a 1/16 of an inch showing on these two sides. Then I'm going to grab my next one, and that's going to be right next to it. And we're going to layer that right here. And so you have about the same amount of border showing on these two sides. Let me move these up so you can keep watching. There we go. So I'm going to grab the next one. Grab that up there and add a little bit of glue to the back side. And I'm coming down here in this corner right now. And we're going to give it the same amount of border that we did at the top. Grab your next one. And that is going down here in this corner. This way, if you need any adjustment, you can do it here in the center. It's the easiest way to cheat if you need to cheat a little bit. Looks like we're doing pretty good tonight. So there we go. And then the other one will obviously fit in that last space. Okay. Now I need to bring that out a little bit. There we go. All right. So that is your background. Now we can bring in our card base, and our card base is the basic white, opens on the right-hand side. If you need to give that a little burnish to keep it flat, you can do that right now. And then our next layer is the painted texture. It's a nice embossing folder that kind of gives you the texture, but stays out of the main focus. All right, we're going to layer that right on here. You have about a 1/16 of an inch showing all the way around. Grab your focal point piece here, the background for that. Add a little bit of glue and center that. So you're going to have more space on the sides than you do the top and bottom. Okay. Now we're going to do the fun part, which is popping on your creating actually your wreath. And so we want to leave a little bit of space here because we're going to cut the third one into 2 pieces. So you'll need your paper snips, and this is not critical which of the berries goes on which side, but this is the way I did it. So I left 2 on one and 3 on the other. All right, so they're going to fit in to the sides right here like this. So at the moment, what we're going to do is add a little bit of glue to the back side. Again, don't forget you're leaving a little space in here. You're going to come down probably 3/4 of an inch from the top. And well, whoops, we're going to add a little bit of glue to the bottom one. And that's coming up about an inch. So we're leaving a little bit more space at the bottom than we did at the top. And now we're ready to fill this in with the pieces that we cut apart. And so you can kind of watch the edge here and see if that kind of curves the way you like it. There's no really right or wrong way. Whatever looks good to you is fine. So we added some glue to this piece, and we're going to do the same over here on this side. So now you can see we have a really pretty round wreath. Awesome. Our birds, I already colored those so you didn't have to sit there and watch me. We're going to pop those on with just glue. We are not popping those up, but if you want to, that would be fine. All right, and we're going to layer this on the outside of the wreath, bringing that bird down right there. Your berries are going to come down and blend into your wreath, as well as these on the right or the left-hand side. Okay, so it kind of makes it a cohesive look there. All right, the next thing that we're going to do is put on our bow, and your bows will be pre-tied for you, so you don't have to worry about tying a bow. We're going to put a glue dot on the back of that and center that right up here at the top. Now, if these little legs of your bow, you can tuck those behind if you want, or you can trim them off, however it looks best to you, depending on how you kind of situate your birds on there. And then the very last part that goes on this one are putting on the gems. And we're going to put one right up here in this section. So my little legs need to go out to the side a little bit. And the other two are going to go down here at the bottom, kind of arranged like that. All righty. Your card is ready for sending. I think that turns out. Now, this one doesn't have a greeting, which makes it nice for your stash because you can use it for many occasions. And the birds are not necessarily cardinals at this point, so they will fit into other occasions besides that kind of Christmas look. Okay. Now, while I'm setting up for the next card, remember that I always like to ask you if you're enjoying these sessions to please like below, share it with your friends, and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already done that. I would really appreciate if you could do that. This is our number 2 card for today. So again, we're using that nice arch. It's so pretty that it's easy for us to pop that in most of our designs, although we only did it for the first 2. All right, the first thing we're going to do is stamp our arch and this time we're using the single bird. Okay, you can actually see these die cuts pretty good today with the lighting, so I'm not going to bring out the silicone mat. So I'm going to grab my Memento ink because, again, we are going to be using blends to do our coloring. All right, so let's ink up here. Looking pretty good. Just using this single one this time. Now I'm turning that over, again, taking your die cut, turning it to the back side so the front side is facing your stamp image, and press down on that. And then you have a pretty image. Okay, we're going to lay this over this side and grab back our arch. And we're going to ink that up. Again, we're using Memento. Looking pretty good. And taking our die cut, flipping it to the back side, and centering that over the arch. All right, pressing down all over that, and there is your arch. Okay, now coloring. Let's chat about the coloring. Let me grab back. Oh, here it is. I'm going to grab back. I can't find it. All right, the bird is done with light and dark crumb cake. The branch is done with dark crumb cake, and the berries are done with dark red, and I added some wink of Stella. You can actually, for all 3 of these cards, you can add wink to the berries, and they look really cool. Now the beak, I added just a little bit light shade of Daffodil Delight. Okay. So again, these colors will all be listed in your PDF that you get. We're doing exactly the same colors on the arch. Okay. So the light shaded spruce is on the large leaves. The smaller leaves are all done in dark shaded spruce. And of course, the berries are done in the dark real red, along with some wink of Stella. All right. Now, I want to show you one more thing before we start actually putting this card together. For this one, let me bring this back. The Happy and the Christmas are not from the Winterly Treetop set. They come from the Peaceful Season set. And you'll see there's a stamped image and there's also a die cut, which is what we used here. And then we used the stamp here. So and that'll all be in the PDF, but I wanted to tell you about that so you realize it did not come from the Winterly set. All right, we have one more stamp to do. And that is the Happy, which I told you where that just came from. I am going to grab the silicone mat so you can see this one. We're doing the Happy in real red. So I'm going to grab that stamp, ink it up, hover over the die, or it's not a die cut, this is just a cut piece. All right, and so Happy is now ready. Get rid of our ink pad here so we don't get that on us. Now we are kind of ready to put our card together. So we have a card base in thick basic white. And as I've mentioned previously, I use the thick for the bases because it's a little bit sturdier than the regular white. The next layer that goes on is the eyelet folder. And it's just a pretty kind of a lacy look to your background. So we're just going to add a bit of glue to the back of that and center it. You'll have just a bit of your card base showing all the way around. Okay, I'm gonna lay this over to the side for the moment. And we're going to nab our piece of Pool Party. Now you'll see right here, we have a nice piece of ribbon. And that knot is already going to be tied for you. So you don't have to worry about tying that. Sometimes that's a bit of a challenge. We're going to take a glue dot and we're going to grab one of those and put it where we want our knot of that tie there to appear. So that's where I put the glue dot. You can see it at the tip of my finger there. We're just going to lay that dot right that knot right on that glue dot. We're going to flip this then to the back side. If you have tear and tape, this is a nice place to use it. If you don't, you can use glue dots instead. So we're going to take the toppers off of the tear and tape. And I'm going to turn this over and make sure that this is going pretty straight across here. And then just tuck that to the back side. Same thing over here. We want to make sure that's running pretty straight. And then just bring that to the back side. Now, if you want to, you can trim that off. But basically, you can just leave that on there if you want to. I'm going to bring back now the base that we started working on. And we're going to add a bit of glue around the edges there, and then flip this over, come up about 3/4 of an inch from the bottom of your card. All right, pressing that down, giving it a chance to nab itself onto the card front. The next piece that's going on will be our, you know what, I'm gonna lay these over to the side for a second. I'm gonna grab that die cut, that Christmas die cut, because I want to make sure that we position that bird appropriately. So I'm going to add a little bit of glue. And you can just add this glue to a few of the vertical pieces. You do not need to cover the entire back of this Christmas die cut. So I'm going to bring the die cut way over here to the side and press that down. You make sure that you don't stretch it. It's very easy sometimes to stretch these. So make sure that when you put it down, you kind of work from this side over to the right side so you don't stretch it. All right, next piece that's going on is the Happy, and you can just use regular glue or a glue dot on there to pop that on. So this is going right up here above the Christmas. Okay, now that we know where that's going, we can pop on our arch here, although we're using it upside down. So that's going to get tucked under here. So you actually are going to be missing some of that, but not a whole lot. So we're going to scooch this down. There we go. Press down. And now we're going to grab our bird. Now, if you would like, you can use dimensionals on this, or if you don't, you can just glue it straight down. So I'm going to put my dimensionals high up so that when I tuck the feet under, they will not be popped up. So here's we go. We're going to lift up our bow a little bit here, tuck the feet down, and then we're going to swivel that bird so that the tail is above the ribbon there. And there we go. Nice, nice, nice. Okay, now we have two pieces of greenery that are die cut out of the Summer Splash in colored glimmer paper. I totally have fallen in love with that. So I use that every chance that I get. So we are going to use glue dots on the back of this, and we're going to tuck them over here to this side. I have another piece, so you'll have two per card. And we're going to tuck the other one over here, and it just really sparkles up that card. Wonderful. Now we have some foil gems that we are also going to add to this card. One of them is going up here, right above the bird and next to the Christmas. And the other two are going here on the pool party layer. Just like that. All righty. So your card is now ready for sending. I hope that you like that one. It is fun, and it doesn't really take a long time to do that coloring. It goes pretty quickly. All right, let's work on card number 3, which is this one. And we're using that real pretty frame for this card. So I needed to use that because I thought it was really lovely. So let's do our stamping. The first stamp that we're going to do are the double birds. Okay, so the two of them. I'm going to ink this up. Ink, ink, ink. It's a lot of stamps, so I want to make sure I get it inked up well. Looking at it, it looks pretty inked up. If it's shiny, it's usually inked up pretty well. So let's lay that over there. We're going to grab our die cut and turn it upside down and position that over your stamp. And then just press down all over that. And there you go. Have a nice image. So let's get rid of this stamp. We do have a verse, and it's we're using the thinking of you always. And we are not using the Memento on this. We are using Espresso. So I'm going to bring back the silicone mat so you can see that label. Here's the Espresso. We're using that for this stamp. Just blend it in nicely with the branch there. So I'm inking this up, taking a look at the stamp to see if I've got it on there. I often, when I put these on the blocks, I often get them on crooked. All right, rocking it slightly to make sure we get the top and the bottom of all those letters. Okay, loosen up our ink and getting that out of the way. We're going to bring in that silver backing, and we're going to nab a couple of glue dots that are going on the silver. And then we can layer on our thinking of you. Now you'll see the silver at the top and the bottom, but not the side. So be sure to center that side to side. And now we are going to leave that because we're going to put glue dots on the back of that when we get ready to add it to our card. All righty. Speaking of the card, I didn't tell you about the coloring. Sorry about that. So I used the dark real red for the first bird. I used a light real red for the second one, and then the light daffodil for the beaks. For the branch, I used the dark crumb cake, and this time for the berries, I used a light crumb cake. Now, of course, you can color those any color that you like, but with this card, it just seemed like it was going to be too much red, so I used the crumb cake for this instead. All righty. All right, now we're ready for the base. So we grab that card base, and again, if it needs to be flattened a little bit so it'll lay flat, that's the time to do it. And we have two pieces here now. The pool party piece, which is going to go underneath our frame. Looks like I bent the frame there. Has been embossed with that snowflake sky, which is totally awesome for this time of year. So I put the dense part at the top and the less dense part at the bottom, but it really doesn't matter. It's kind of up to you. So we're going to take the frame and we're going to flip it to the back side and grab our dimensionals. Okay, so I'm putting probably about 6 on here. The sides are a little bit narrow, but if you want to add them to the side, you can use your minis for the sides. Okay. If you don't have minis, you can use this little edge along here. That works fine. All right. I am going to put a couple of minis over here on the side just to give us a little bit more support. Okay, awesome. Now we're going to remove all the toppers on the dimensionals. Actually, I find getting them off the small ones are tougher than getting them off the big ones. Okay, if you ever have trouble, put your fingernail in the center and press down, and then that raises up the edge there. All right, we are going to leave this laying down with the backside showing. Grab our embossed piece, flip that over. So now we're looking at the backside, and then we're going to center that over the frame. Okay, when we find that it's centered, then we'll press that down, and when we turn it over, it looks like this. Then we can take a little bit of glue, put it on the back side of your pool party layer, and center that on the top of your card base. Now you'll have about 1/4 of an inch. No, I'm sorry, about 1/8 of an inch showing all the way around. All right, that looks centered. Now we're going to take our focal point here, add a little bit of glue to the back side, and we're going to slip that a little bit under some of these pieces so we can see the birds, but it kind of looks like they are peeking out through some winter greenery there. It's not green, it's white, but you understand what I'm saying. Okay, very good. Now we're going to take our greeting and we want to attach it to this part. So we're going to put the glue dots on the back side at the bottom. So we're going to put those down here at the bottom. And it will look like it's dimensioned, but it is not really. And we're going to center that. You'll have a little bit of white showing there, but it's centered side to side. Okay. Now we're going to put on some pretty sparkly stuff. We're going to use 2 small rhinestones here on the greeting. So on each side, okay? And then we're going to use these big ones, the ones that have tons of sparkle in our background. So they can kind of look like snowflakes falling or stars in the evening sky, something like that. All right. Your card is ready for sending. I hope that you enjoyed this evening's cards. You can, don't forget, get your free kit to make 2 of each of these by placing an online order using that host code. Now you need to do that $35 order to get the kit by 10/14. So you have 1 week to get that order in. If you place a $50 order, you'll get an extra pack of embellishments. If you just want the measurements and supplies with the photos, there's photos included, you need to be on my mailing list. And if you're not on my mailing list, you can do that real quickly. The link is below. It takes a second, and then you'll be getting the supply list also. Okay. If you did enjoy our class tonight, we have a Zoom live classes every Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. The information for that is on the schedule. That's on my blog, and my blog link is below also. So again, if you did enjoy it, please like it, share it with your friends, and subscribe to my channel if you've not already done so. Thank you, and we'll see you in 2 weeks.